Okay. So,
I'm Jeremiah A Coffey with Barry here at the Red River X. My exhibit, the Bitcoin Billionaire, the book that I've written, the book I'm producing here, as I say, a new book promotion, and it's about Bitcoin and the people that are going to make billions on it.
now there's a lot of talk in the media about this cryptocurrency these days and Bitcoin. For those people that don't understand the word Bitcoin, everybody knows what a coin is: dime, nickel, quarter, pennies obsolete, or 50-cent piece. Explain what a Bitcoin is versus a coin.
Well, a Bitcoin is it's not a coin. Maybe it should have been called a key instead of a coin. There is no physical Bitcoin. There's no paper Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is a reference to an account. It's like the old Swiss bank accounts. If you went up to the teller at the Swiss bank and you said, here's the account number, they'd say, what's the code? And if you told them the code, they'd give you all the money in the account. They wouldn't ask who you were or where you came from or where you got the money or what you wanted the money for. They just give you the money because you had the code. And that's the way Bitcoin works. If you have the code, you control the money. You can keep it, move it, spend it, save it, but if you control the code. And I'm showing people here the variety of different coins that could be spent. I say I have to take Bitcoin because I have a Bitcoin book, but I take 30 different currencies. And I tell them your wallet will be on your phone. I've got a Jack's wallet on my phone. I can set it to whatever currency: Litecoin, Doge, EOS, Bitcoin Cash, Ether, whatever they wanted to spend. I'd set it on my phone. I'd say, oh, you'd like to spend $20? I'd tap up 20. It'd convert in the decimal currency of how much that would be in Litecoin, or it would be decimal point 0018 Bitcoin or decimal point 02 Litecoin or whatever. Their phone we'd agree to the transaction. Their phone would go beep. My phone would go beep. We'd both see the money was transferred, and they'd walk away with my book. The book covers all types of Bitcoin mining, Ethereum mining. It tells how I'm trying to bring mining in a big way to Manitoba. I think that here in Manitoba we're centrally located. We have cold weather. We've got abundance of electricity at a good low cost. I like to say we have clean electricity from our hydroelectric. I lost a big sale recently where they took the Bitcoin mine to Alberta. That Bitcoin won't be as clean as our Bitcoin. It would have been a petroleum-based electricity. So I think we could really have a good industry in Manitoba if we can just attract more business here mining Bitcoin. So how many years has Bitcoin been around? Like, is it recently? Or? Yeah, it's quite recent. It started in 2008, and no one knows where it came from. It's mysteriously arrived, and it seemed to arrive right at a time when the economy was almost collapsing. It seems that maybe it was a fallback plan for the government. It's got a mysterious origins. There is a Canadian by the name of Vitalik Buterin. A couple of years ago, he invented a new type of Bitcoin. He calls it Bitcoin 2.0. His Bitcoin isn't just a coin. His Bitcoin is what it's called a smart contract. So it does something. It's not just that you would spend this coin or transfer this coin. The coin could represent a free taxi ride, or the coin could say at midnight at the end of the month, charge the rent. You could give it instructions which it would follow. Could be used for a will, for example. When I die, give this thing to my heir. So it would be impossible to ever change it. It's got a permanent record that's got a timestamp, and if there's any tampering, it'll be very evident. So it protects a person from any type of tampering or something being lost.
So when it comes to Bitcoin, around the world, does it stay the same in no matter what country you're in? Unlike our traditional currency, the US dollar changes.
Bitcoin's bought and sold in an open market. The price reflects the the least that anyone who has one is willing to sell it for, and the most that anyone wants it is willing to pay for it. Recently, because of, we saw a circumstance where in South Korea, there were restrictions on the money coming in and out of the country. And South Korea was selling Bitcoin at a substantial premium, pushing 15-20% over market. The world networks of peg boards, the tote boards around the world, they thought there must be some mistake. They should have been much closer than that. And there was some problem because they realized, why is Bitcoin so much more in South Korea? But yes, each country could sell it for more or less depending on demand. In Venezuela, for example, it might be more. And in India, it might be more. In South Korea, it was more. Yeah, America and Europe, which should be virtually the same, within cents of each other.
So are there, you mentioned paying for your rent or in your will, are there any retailers now that are actually accepting Bitcoin instead of your traditional currency?
There was one big retailer called Overstock. Bitcoin right now, unfortunately, had an experiment with retail that didn't go over very well. They put 250 retail locations in Japan, but we're in our developing stages. There's issues to be ironed out. There's more than one Bitcoin, and perhaps one of the Bitcoins would be better for retail, and the other Bitcoin would be better to just buy and hold, or maybe for investment. So there's now several different Bitcoins. There's not just one. Some would be better for retail, but during the time that we were battling for which one would be the main one that we pursue, it hurt retail. So at this time, retail's early start didn't work too well. The coin that's best for retail is called Dash, D-A-S-H, called Digital Cash. That's a coin that is better than Bitcoin for retail sales. So it is addressed. There are several different coins, and Dash would be the best retail coin, I'd say.
So if somebody wants to get into Bitcoin, do you actually have to create something or transfer something?
Well, you have
currency?
You have to get some somehow. You have to get some. You could be given some. You could buy some. You could earn some. I always say earned Bitcoin is the best Bitcoin. For a while, we were giving away Bitcoin so that people could practice using it. I could give you 2 cents worth of Bitcoin, but it'd be a big long number. It'd look like you really had something. And you'd be able to send that and spend that and transfer that to practice using the wallets.
And would you say, you're talking about you have to know the code, being that we have a lot of identity theft and a lot of fraudulent transactions going on nowadays, is it very secure, Bitcoin?
It's very secure, but the problem is, like anything else, humans are the weak link. Humans are the weak link. The best way, over there, could you pass me those papers that you have there, perhaps? See those those papers? Yeah, pass them. I brought these to show people. This is what would happen if you were to transfer off of the internet. This would be for Zcash. This would be for my Ether wallet. These would be for Bitcoin. So you could receive the Bitcoin. Say you bought the Bitcoin. I recommend Quadriga CX Exchange in Vancouver. You should have, it's like your stockbroker. It requires your ID to, just like any brokerage. And then you could buy your crypto from them. You could say, give me $1,000 worth of Ether and $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to get started. But then you wouldn't want to just leave your money there. So you might take that $1,000 of Bitcoin, transfer it to your wallet here, and then on your wallet, you might create a paper backup. And who has the number has the coin. So you would put your big long number, your private key number, on the paper. You'd have your QR codes for easier reference. You might make a photocopy and lock it in 2 safes. when you ever wanted sometime later to take that money back, there is a way on the Jack's wallet on your phone to bring that back from paper onto here, where it's not safe again. It's safer when it's on a paper in your your safe or safety deposit box, something like that.
So I noticed you have lots of resources here, a book and some CDs. Can you give an explanation why you have so many resources?
I was really eager to have people read my book.
Okay.
To such an extent as I'd give everyone a free one and ask them if they'd read it. And I'm a student at the University of Winnipeg in computer sciences, so I'd give other students in class the book or a PDF of the book. And I realized that nowadays people don't read as much as they did before. So I thought I'll reach this audience with audiobooks. So I had a professional narrator, Doug Green, a good narrator from Audible. He produced the book on CD. It's a 6-hour and 19-minute audiobook where he reads what's on the book word for word exactly. And I thought, well, he might say, describe a mining machine that I was talking about, a picture of it. You wouldn't be able to see it. You'd only hear about it. So I also included a PDF. A lot of the book in the back has photographs of young people that are involved that have stellar careers in this. So I wanted to show, that there's opportunity there, and I photographed a number of people that are very hard to locate. They're always busy coding, and they don't come out much and don't do any PR, but it's nice to see their faces, and you couldn't do that on the audiobook. So I made a combination, and I also got a little tiny book, little thumb drive. I put a 6.3 hour audio book and the 207 page PDF on a thumb drive. As you see, I got a lot more of the CDs because everybody's buying the thumb drives. I said, well, please buy the CD. You can play it in the car. Why are you buying the thumb drives? You can't play it in the car. And everyone's told me, well, we're taking it in the computer and we're sending it to our phone. And then we're listening with our phone. So they like the thumb drive because it's easy to transfer, I guess. But I had these made in Hong Kong, a little retractable, and it's of course just a miniature of the book.
Yes.
So kind of a novelty item. We're at the X, so you have to have a novelty item.
So what is your background? Is your background in finances? Or?
I got a background in finance and a lot of training. I'm an appraiser, and I was a financial planner, and I ran a tax accounting company in Alberta. Okay. I was working up in the Fort McMurray area, and I guess, being in the bush like that, I don't know how I missed it, but I didn't find out about Bitcoin till 2 years ago. I really don't know how I missed it. I was pretty shocked that something that big was going on, and I hadn't heard of it. So when I did hear of it, I got so involved, I jumped right in.
So how many, I don't know if you could answer this question, but how many people would you say might be involved in Bitcoin if you took the world, like is it millions of people or thousands of people if you just had to take a wild guess? Because a lot of people still don't understand what Bitcoin is, why you need to get involved in it.
Well, okay, so you could say the usage of wallets maybe to determine that. Blockchain Info Wallet has processed 120 million transactions and has issued in excess of 100,000 wallets. So if you could think a wallet per user, perhaps, say. So you're talking about the whole world. I don't think it'd be 10 million yet. Maybe it's really at the early stages. It's an opportunity to get in first. You can still be at the beginning. It's not too late by any means. Not too late.
So you wouldn't, they always say about things come and go. Would you say this technology is here to stay and it's at infancy, or is it going to die out if people don't?
Well, I think it's, I have this here, Bitcoin's here to stay. Bitcoin's here to stay. Okay. Yeah, it is. It's here to stay, but it won't be the only one. it's the Model T car. Cars are still here. The Model T's not here. It's changed. Bitcoin itself has been changed and worked on and improved and improved. So the thing about it is, it can't be killed. So there are people who might want to kill it. Maybe government somewhere, or banks, or credit card companies, or competitors of some type might try to kill it, but they can't. It's unkillable. And as it goes up and down, each time that it goes down, and people are concerned, is this the end? What it really does is reinforces our confidence in its resilience. It just reinforces, and we get used to it. We've seen this before. Oh yeah. And it's always the same thing of the people who buy in at the top and then they're frustrated, or so you shouldn't buy in at the top. You shouldn't buy in if you don't know about it. You should learn about it before you invest anything. You could, though, however, take $20, buy a little bit and play with it, and if you lose the 20 through some mistake, you haven't lost much. So it does take a few dollars to put in and play with it. And then when you get some confidence, you could maybe buy something using it. I found, quite shockingly though, that some of my little experiments with little piddly inconsequential amounts of money skyrocketed to be really significant. I had $140 turn into over $20,000. I had $3 turn into almost $300. And every single one that I had went up. You'd have to have like a Litecoin wallet for your Litecoin, and I stopped using it, and I looked back and it had gone from $3 to over $150, and I had my Ethereum went from $7, bought it at $7 and sold it at $1,300. My Bitcoin, I bought it to $630, and I was selling Bitcoin up into the 20,000. So every single one went up.
So you mentioned that the Bitcoin came onto the internet in a mysterious way. You don't really know who the founder was or who got the idea for it. So I would take it that it's unregulated. Nobody regulates what these wallets or these apps that you download and you transfer.
The government, it's too big now for the government not to regulate it. So yes, the government is trying to regulate it in the best way. And truthfully, it needs regulating, and and I applaud that. There was one of our main evangelists for Bitcoin, Andreas Antonopoulos, some time ago now. He had a meeting, a Senate committee called him to testify about, and he did 2 countries in a row. He did Australia and he did Canada, and he did such an excellent job. He explained it to them, and he recommended that they do nothing. They wait and see and watch what America does, for example, and watch what China does. They did that. Australia, on the other hand, tried making regulations about something they didn't fully understand, and it was just a disaster. They floundered around with inappropriate and unworkable regulations, and at the same time they were trying to list it on the Australian Stock Exchange. They were very confused what it even was, and I think Canada had a very good policy. America has, in my book I talk about the regulator from Delia Blas. She's the head regulator from the Securities Exchange Commission in the United States. I also talk about, it's mainly the People's Bank of China that's directing the regulations in China. There will be directives, daily directives appear on the People's Bank of China website, and you look to the People's Bank of China. I'm doing things in China. I'm trying to attract Bitcoin mining, and it's centralized in China, trying to get some people to relocate some used equipment from China to here in Manitoba.
I actually met a fellow the other day. He mentioned that he's got a lot of servers and he is mining in Bitcoin back in Europe. So is that the way also to generate revenue by
yes.
banks, great big banks of servers and mining?
Well, yes. What mining Bitcoin means, mining is maybe not the best term, but that's the term we have. Every 10 minutes, a new block is formed. That's why they call it a blockchain. That block is summed up, locked onto the next one. And after the block is locked up, now it comes time for the Bitcoin miners to receive a reward. We call it the block reward. So every 10 minutes, 12.5 fresh new Bitcoins are minted and given free to whomever wins a race. And the race is a mathematical race. The mathematical race is just pure luck. And you don't know who will win. A single miner one time might win, or someone with a room this size full of miners might win. But we know the value of the Bitcoin. Say it's $9,000 Canadian right now. 12.5 Bitcoins would be worth 9,000 times 12.5. That's how much money is being put into the economy, a Bitcoin economy, every 10 minutes. So it's several $100,000 per hour. Now, what we do is we form groups called mining pools. So the advantage of a mining pool is consistent payouts. If you agree to take your mining computers and direct them to the mining pool, if someone else in the pool wins, you'll all share that revenue. You'll all get your fair share back out. So by joining a mining pool, you can be sure that you'll get a payout every 4 hours. And that makes a stable income flow that's predictable. There are mining calculators that'll say what's the wattage, what's the hash rate, what's the current price, and what's the profitability. And your cost of electricity. And here in Manitoba, we recently gave a very good rate for, we were trying to attract the Amazon distribution center to Winnipeg. We were talking about 4-cent power. So I'm trying to attract miners to here with 4-cent power.
So if people want to find more information about, do you have a website or on social media?
I've got a website called smartpropertyblockchain.ca. That's smartpropertyblockchain.ca. Many of the things that I'm selling here are available free at that website. The website's set up for Canadian dollars. It's got widgets with the current price of many of these things. We often have to switch from US dollars to Canadian. This is already all in Canadian. It's got a Canadian flag. And there's things of interest to Canadians there. I put up some things for my audiobook. Put up some videos to explain to people about blockchains and some of the math. There's pictures of some of them little computers I've designed for mining, and that's smartpropertyblockchain.ca.
Well, thanks very much for talking with us and give a little bit inside information about Bitcoin.
Well, thank you, Barry.
Thank you very much. So I'll check out your website. So can I download the book on the website, or your audio book or PDF book?
Well, here, take everything.
Okay.
You can lift any graphics and you can run a dub. It's not copy guarded.
Okay.
A thing about this whole Bitcoin blockchain, the most important thing to understand is that we share everything. There's no patents. We share everything. If I come up with an idea, that is not my edge, where from now on I have an edge because I have this secret idea that's better. As soon as I get a new idea, I tell everyone. We all have a new idea. But this sharing philosophy, you try to give things away for free. I get a commitment when I sell things. Maybe people will read it because they've spent some money, and rather if you just give someone, they may not get around to reading it. But we do share as much as we can.
Okay, well, thanks very much for your time.
Well, thank you, Barry.
Appreciate that.